Another judgment question. How do you handle conflict in a marriage? Or have you ever fell in an argument with your spouse? How was it? What was the final straw?
Oh, argument, final straw.
Yes.
I don't know. I think, yes, for me, argument, yes. And for me, I think my wife and I, we know when something is going to, if you want to say hit the fan, or something is coming. So things will happen. And Sean will say, okay, I know you have something to say. And I said, you really want me to say what I have to say? Let us sit down. So, but you know we are going to address it. Yeah. We can't really, I can't sleep without talking about it.
Yes.
And I don't want to say over-spiritualize, but for me and for her, spiritual walk with God is very important. Yes. I always say, I don't want dead in my sleep. And me gonna, no, I don't want to wake up in hell. That's true. And so I'll always be agitating that to say we need to speak about this. We need to settle it. Sometimes the matter is not fully resolved at that point, but then we may just decide to say, okay, we'll talk about it. And then a few days later, somehow God just allow it. That one of us, maybe I was wrong, I didn't see it her way, and just sitting down and reflecting about it, I was like, whoa, I was stupid in that. And then we'll go back and say, honey, I was stupid. And say, well, and the forgiveness is there. Yes. And so we deal with the situation same time. Don't allow it to brew, because when I allow it to brew over days and weeks, that's even worse. Because you are interacting with the person would, you have me up in your heart too much days now, and it's not good for you as well as an individual in the walk with Christ.
All right then. So solve your arguments. Season with grace. Your words. Let it be seasoned with grace. Better. All right then. Another question is, how do you handle a situation where you are ready for marriage and commitment, but your partner is not ready?
I don't know. That's a very interesting question. I say interesting because I don't feel like Amanda and I were like that at all. I think both of us, we just knew. But if it's a case where one partner feels ready and another does not, counseling may help. It may actually be the person's own inhibitions that would kind of say, boy, I'm not ready. You might say, I'm not ready because I don't have a car or I don't live by myself. Certain little things, you don't really sweat them, because when Amanda and I got married, we didn't own a house. We didn't own a car. But God has blessed us with a lot of different things. And so there are things that probably it just needs a little bit of talking about. Yes. And sometimes even before you get engaged, counseling can actually help with those things. As a matter of fact, before I proposed to Amanda, I was scared stiff. I don't know why. But I was saying to myself, am I really ready to be a husband? And I literally sought counsel and I prayed about it. And having sought counsel, I realized that I am ready to become married. And so I did the necessary knee action and so on.
All right.
You get me? So I don't think that's necessarily something that...
On that note, Mr. Mighty, how did you know you were ready?
True story. I'm a songwriter. I prayed to God the day I got with a man, and I said, God, I'm going to write a song. Anytime this song is finished, I'll know I'm ready. Now, this is important because I've never written a love song before. All of the songs that I've written are praise and worship songs. So, I remember it was almost 2 years to the day that I finished writing that song. And I stepped back and I looked at the sheet of paper that I had written on and said, Dear Lord, what have I done? Quite literally, but it's more than just, asking God for a sign, so to speak. It's a condition of the heart. I know that I love my wife. At that time, I knew that I loved my girlfriend. Quite literally loved her. To the point where it permeated everything that I did. Like everywhere I went, I'd be all like, Amanda was telling me about this, and everybody's like, you can't stop talking about your girlfriend yet. But no, it flowed out of everything I did. And I think in many ways, it's much like the love that we have for God. Literally, it's second tier to the love that we should have for God and that God has for us. Yeah. That's the type of relationship that we have. So when I knew that I was secure in that love, I said, yes, I'm ready.
Praise the Lord. If you don't mind, Mr. Mighty, what's a line of that song, no, please? One line. We just need one line.
You make my heart smile. You've covered my world in hues of living color. You stolen my heart. You are mine and I am yours forever. You're not getting no more.
Ready. You were ready.
In terms of being ready, no, I'm not going to sing. We set that bar a while ago. For me, in terms of being ready, I remember God talking to me about certain little things that I was doing and said I should before I even met Shauna, God said get rid of everything. Every little ways, as I said, interaction with certain females, start a clean house. And then when I met Shauna, I realized that she was just different. She was special. I enjoyed being around her. I was not annoyed. I usually, if I'm in a relationship, after 2 weeks, I get like, we're not going anywhere, like, no, this thing needs to, finish. And I'm not going to go through with it. Seriously, I just talked up front. I said, please, I'm not enjoying the conversation. But Shauna it was so good. And then we lived apart. So in terms of Montego Bay, Kingston. Yeah. And I was in college. So every time around 3 o'clock, she would call me. And I told her, can't call me before that. I'm in class. And she actually do it, Yeah. I'm like, girl, this girl is awesome. She cares, not really. She cares about my well-being and finishing school, because we had a conversation. So listen to me, I'm in this program and I must finish this program. So if you care about me, you will do some of these things that I'm asking. And I saw that, and then I realized that when I lived in Montego Bay for a little while, and I came up back and I said, God, I don't want to lose this girl. And I see the love for her family, and I see how she cared about God and doing stuff. And I said, Lord, I think I'm ready. Yeah. And I sat with my sister, and I bought the ring, and I went to my bishop, and I said, Bishop, I think I'm ready. And he said, you sure? And he said, okay, if you're ready. And he prayed. And so, after that, the rest is history.
Amen, amen. Love is in the air. All right, now, another question. Since you both, all of you are married, and you are committed to each other, is it possible to lust?
Yes, it is. If you don't remind yourself of your commitment.
Yes.
It's just like with the Lord. If you don't if you don't go after God, you're going to go after something else. Something else is going to draw your attention. So, there is the possibility. We are subject to that. So we have to make sure that we make that decision very clear in our head. Like for me, I'm just, single-eyed.
Yes.
I'm not looking anywhere else. Even before we got married, even before we got married, I was telling the whole world about her. I thought I was ready long before, but, maybe God knows better. But I knew that I needed to wait on her for God to deal with some things in her, because I'd never approached her like that before. So it was kind of strange me coming to her like that, and wanting a romantic relationship. And so I had to wait. God told me specifically that I had to be patient and wait on him to do some stuff in her.
Yes.
And so, you can lust if you get distracted.
Yes.
But what you need to do, you're going to see persons that are, attractive or have some qualities that you have to be real about that.
Yes.
Some qualities that you like, generally in persons. But the important thing to do is to, be sober.
Yes.
Because when it's all over and done, that's the wife that God has blessed you with. She's the one that she's your helpmeet. She's compacted with what you really need. So anything else is frivolous, really.
Yeah.
Just to answer, yes, you can be tempted, but one of the things to overcome that is also be very open. Everything at my work, me tell my wife.
Yes.
I remember one day there was something happened. We just got married, and there was someone who kind of did something a little lean over very inappropriately, and she saw me there, and just bumped there. But there's a colleague also that saw that and went over to her. So as it happened, the night we go home, I say, Shana, you know what happened today? Mm-hmm. Somebody just lean over and she just wheel herself, right there. And she was like, really, that happened? And then what happened now? I know Shana is going to be praying about that. And say, God, that individual, And so we being open about that, or being open about certain things that is happening, should also step in. If it's a group setting and stuff, she will, I don't know if she positions herself, if you want to say that, but she's present.
Yes.
So she's there, and so that I will be able to overcome whatever, is happening. So be very, very open about what is happening, and don't hide anything in it at all.
No secrecy. How much intimacy is too much intimacy in a dating relationship?
I think Amanda and I are kind of suited to answer this one, simply because of the types of boundaries that we had set. I've heard it said that there is such a thing as an intimacy ladder, where as you go up the levels of intimacy, what you consider to be more intimate, less intimate, etc., you go up that ladder where you're comfortable, you take a step or two down. That's where your relationship resides. So quite literally, and I say this unreservedly, the first time I held Amanda's hand, I'm not kidding, it was like wildfire. Everything in me just, whoo! This is literally 2 days after we got together. And it's like, I know, she kind of... Truthfully, it's because I had never experienced that before. Now, I asked her, I said, look here, this is a little bit much for me. Can we just take a step back from this? It's funny. But she agreed. Curiously, she agreed. Not to say, though, that our intimacy did not grow over time, but to say that there are certain things. We decided from very early on, as a matter of fact, that we would not kiss until our wedding day, and we successfully did that. We dated for, I think, it was 2.5 years or something to that, without kissing.
Yes.
But I mean, over time, you get a little bit more comfortable with like holding hands, hugging, and that sort of thing. But how much intimacy is too much? Anything that starts to pull you from God, if you start to think less about God in your relationship and more about the other side of being in a relationship, it's probably too much.
All right,
and if you're asking the question, no, I'm going to say this. If you're asking the question, am I doing too much in my relationship? You're probably doing too much. All right? You're probably doing too much, so you need to take a step back.
And let me add quickly also, that's awesome. Yes. That I guess a lot of times people ask that question, they're asking about physical intimacy.
Yes.
But the reality is that intimacy, the person is not just a body. The person you're relating to is not just a body. They have their mental side, their emotional side, the spiritual side, and their social side. So intimacy is for real intimacy involves all of those. So don't just limit intimacy to physical contact and sexual intercourse. Yeah, so that's definitely a no-no. Physical intimacy before marriage. And I like that about you being real with you.
Yes.
Just that touch and what it did to you. She may not know because she's comfortable with that. But if that did something to you, you need to be real with you. Because God knows what it did to you too. And the devil will begin to pick up too.
Yes.
Oh, I think that was the same thing for me. After, and I know I really, really love Shana. And they hug him one day, they say, look here. Because we're away from each other and they will meet up on that one day. I have a few hours. You want to hug and stuff. And I realized, no man, these things that feel too much. No. As this so we're married, so we said, listen, we need to honor God. I was really real with that because Shana is more huggy and that kind of thing and express herself that way. And we just decided that, listen, we have to honor God inside of this relationship. And so if I don't feel like to hug, I will express that to you. Yeah. That right now, especially in those moments when you travel for 3 hours on a bus, go to Montego Bay, and have only 2 hours to see each other, because you have another 3 hours to come home back. You want to hug and get as much of that contact in. So we just establish that to say, look here, this is not going to honor God. And we're going to have enough time. Yes. Enough time in marriage to explore and to do all of what, married people should do.
Amen.
And just to add, keep body parts out of body parts. That's something I learned at a Passion and Purity conference, and I must say, just passing it on right now.
Yeah.
Keep
All right,
body parts out of body parts.
Amen. Next question. If you think that the person you are dating is the one, why persons always say you are not ready for a relationship with that person? Should I repeat that question? If you think that the person you are dating is the one, why is it then that you always have persons telling you are not ready for a relationship?
What I would say to that is, I don't know who the person is, but who said that. But I would, if I had a mentor that cares for me, and I don't know about the always say, but if the mentor, I would explore and ask, could you explain what you mean? Don't just get upset because I'm so, anxious right now to have a relationship and I feel that this is the one. I don't want to know why does this person not think so.
Yes.
Because when we were getting married, there were a lot of people who didn't think we should get married. Yeah, there were a lot of people who didn't think we should get married, and war broke out. World War III broke out. Yeah. We can't get into the details right now. But I actually heard that many persons from my parish cancel our wedding.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, so
we need a part two.
So, but at the same time, I would want to explore from my mentor what is their concern.
Yes.
I have to remain open to the person who cares for me.
Yes.
What is their concern? And the communication there, I think we need to explore that before we just shut them out and say, well, they might try to stop my life and I try to hold me down or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. The thing about caution too, I don't know if it was a big world war for Shana and I, but coming from 2 different churches, sometimes that the dynamic can really play out. There was stories behind the scenes, and later on I found out that there was some brokering too going on. My leaders went to leaders without us even knowing, and talking about this because she was in a relationship before, and some things happened there, and then some things were said that maybe I am coming to just maybe mess up her life again and so. But I analyzed some of the things that person was saying. Some of the concerns that person had is that we were so young. I was just leaving college, not even start working yet, and then all of a sudden, boom, go take up a woman now and try to get certain things, get no bed, get certain things. I'm telling you, looking back, you see the concerns that they had is that they don't want the relationship to go on, but they wanted to offer their guidance to say, these things need to be put in place. And now being married, I'm telling you, I'll tell any young person and advise them that listen to persons. And one of the things I really love is that they didn't stop. My family members, I must say, my brothers and sisters, some of them, some little things, they jumped in. One of my brother actually, just jump in and say, no man, this can't go on. And actually gave another side to some things that were not being understood by other persons. And so I tell anybody, if you hear, as Uncle said, them talking about the relationship or particular, don't just see it as negative. Break it apart and analyze. They might just have concerns and they just don't know how to even express those concerns. And so when they express it, you can get an opportunity to actually, tell them what is happening.
Yes.
Well, passion and purity, in retrospect, 10 years, some people who just started out in the movement are now married and enjoying marriage, happily married and going on to having children and other stuff like that. Oh, God is awesome. We can't say everything in one session, but we'd like to probably hear just a last comment from each person before we go. And but yeah, what would be the last thing that you'd want to say to probably married couples out there? What I would want to say is marriage is honorable and the bed is undefiled. So keep it honorable and keep the bed undefiled. All right, if you want to hear more on that, we'll have to get into a marriage counseling session.
Well, my word wasn't really for married couples, but particularly for those who are still single. Be okay with your singleness. Sometimes, like we emphasize it so much in the church that, it's a good thing to get married. Paul kept on saying it's a good thing to be single too. And in order to be okay being married, you need to be okay being single. Just remember that.
I would advise or encourage persons who are married to spice up your marriage. Make sure to keep everything nice and jiggy, right? No, seriously, like you're going to be in a relationship with a person for a lifetime. Don't just be, boring. Dress up, go out, do things that are fun, do things that that the both of you enjoy. And, I really love marriage. I've loved my marriage so far, and I'll continue. I'm sure my husband and I will continue to do things that we know each other loves, and we don't want to become boring and dry and all of that. So you have to keep the thing, you have to keep the thing fresh with prayer. You have to make sure that you go together, go to different places, travel, do things that both of you like.
Oh, no dryness. Amen. So, for me, I think I can't really remain. I think everybody, if you look at my relationship, they think I'm the boring one. Me look boring and everything, but Shana is just so bubbly. So I really can't be that stiff. I really concur what Amanda said a while ago. Keep the spice going. Go out, enjoy each other. But also, something I would say to persons, wait. Patience inside a marriage, whatever you're waiting for, it really, you have to really lock into God, because sometimes we can get so impatient with each other. We want to see stuff done now. We want this now. But we really need to be patient, because when God starts doing it, I'm telling you, you'll be surprised at what God is doing. And you will see that He really wants you to be able to handle everything. So I said to married couples, those who are waiting, even those who are waiting on having a child, or anything at all they want, to a house, whatever it is, just wait on God. And don't be, cursing or arguing with your spouse about it. Just really just sit in God and just wait. And just enjoy life, enjoy each other. I say, have ice cream and stuff, and keep the things spicy, and stuff within the marriage.
Wow. All right. Put your hands together for all of these panelists. Awesome wisdom. We just touching the tip of the iceberg. But this time we want to close out this session. So have a blessed rest of the time as you continue to contemplate marriage, and we look at the faithfulness of God in marriage and in the whole thing of relationships.
To order a copy of this and other conference books, please visit our website at www.fashionandpurity.com. You may also email us at fashionandpurityja@yahoo.com or call us at 876-869-3311 or 876-861-6010.
He purifies the meek with salvation. Jesus gives life to those who see.